For more than 30 years, John Blanchette's work has resonated with readers, unlike any other in the region. A sports writer with an uncanny knack for connecting with his audience. His path to prominence can be traced back to Montana.
I worked on the newspaper staff at my high school newspaper, and the sports editor of the Missoulian needed kids to take games on the phone on Friday and Saturday nights and basically do all the little things that need to get done to put a newspaper out. And so my journalism advisor sent me down to talk to him. And so I started giving up my Friday and Saturday nights in high school. I'm not really sure the trade was worth it, but I guess looking back, it's okay now.
Missoula was where Blanchette first met Judd Heathcote, then the head basketball coach at the University of Montana. Heathcote provided a lasting impression as Blanchette began his career.
He wouldn't want me to say this, but he's been a mentor of sorts ever since my days in Missoula. What Judd is great about is including you in things. He can be sarcastic. He's always sarcastic and cranky, and that's one of the great things about him, is that doesn't change. But he's also very inclusive and makes you feel a part of things, and that was very important to me at a very young age.
John was the sports editor of the school paper, and he called me to get an interview, and this kid comes in with real long hair. The first thing I said, well, kid, you ought to get a haircut. And then, I became good friends with him, and he was very talented early. You could see that he was going to be successful.
From Missoula, Blanchette went to work in Billings, and in February of 1981, he landed in Spokane, where he found a sweet spot covering sports for the Spokesman-Review.
From a professional standpoint, thanks to the generosity of the Spokesman and my bosses, I got to go over to Seattle any number of times to get my taste of writing about pro sports and sent to big events. But by the same token, I could still go do the 8-man football game, and a lot of times that's a lot more fun. That was great freedom to have.
For more than 3 decades, if a sports story in our area has been important, Blanchette has likely been there and written about it, somehow finding a way to craft the perfect perspective for readers.
John Blanchette's a guy you get up in the morning, you say, I wonder what John Blanchette wrote today. I did it this morning.
People have said it before. I mean, this guy writes what everybody might be thinking, but they don't know how to put it down on words. And he's a master at that, and can make you laugh doing it too.
Which is a rare and difficult skill. Blanchette is widely considered the best at tackling any subject and writing a memorable, on-the-mark column about it.
He has just the right touch. You know how comedians have the right timing? This guy, his touch is just amazing.
His columns are enlightening and sometimes frightening.
He really enjoys the subjects he writes about. Sometimes he really enjoys skewering the ones that deserve to be skewered.
I'm sure there's some of them that give you this, they just do not see it. I hope that I've written enough things where maybe I've softened that a little bit. I mean, like I say, I don't go out always with the intent of nailing somebody, but and so I try and find those times when their good things can be illuminated as well.
He's written so many good columns, but he's brought tears to my eyes with some of his columns, and some of his best columns are, obit columns.
The columns that are written in sad and sometimes very traumatic circumstances sometimes tend to be the ones that stay with you, and yet you hesitate to glorify those at all. It's just it's part of the job, and it's a sad part of the job when that happens. But those are the ones that oftentimes seem to resonate the most with people.
He really gets to the heart of a man or woman, and he is amazing at that. He can really tug at your heartstrings.
His distinctive writing style has earned him many accolades over the years. 7 times the Washington Sports Writer of the Year, the 2009 National Associated Press Sports Columnist of the Year, and now a spot in the Inland Northwest Sports Hall of Fame.
It's overwhelming. It's awkward a little bit because I look at the people who are in it. And you're talking about people whose athletic achievements put them in halls of fame on a national level. it's hard to think of yourself in those terms. And I know there are different aspects to this Hall of Fame because it's a local Hall of Fame or a regional Hall of Fame. And so I'm, comfortable enough with that. But it's very flattering. There's no question about it. It's incredibly flattering that there are people who thought that my work over the years was good enough for to be considered for something like this. That maybe it resonated enough with people in this community, and I assume it goes just beyond those people because they probably hear from other people. So, in that respect, I'm flattered and I'm humbled, and I just and I can't thank I couldn't thank anyone enough.
I think the community here does not realize how fortunate they are to have John all these years, because he could have gone a lot of places and chose to stay here in a smaller environment.
He really seems to enjoy the people that he's writing about. And he's not worried about becoming, the columnist for the New York Times or the Dallas Morning News or anything like that, but he could write for any of those papers. I mean, he's just that good.